Welcome to UPRE, Political Satire Month. This is E Boogie, back at it again with another political satire themed film. Tonight, we're reviewing Thank You for Smoking. As a former tobacco user, this film really spoke to me. I was really excited about selecting it for this month. It's pretty well acted, I think, and very witty. But more than anything, it had a really interesting message, and it's not exactly what you would think. Are we going to show that trailer, or are we going to dive into introductions? All right. Well, tonight I have with me Mr. Mike Knox. Let me put him in here. How are you?
What's going on, Boogie? You picked this movie, didn't you?
I did. This was my pick for political
I can't wait to talk about this movie. Glad to be here. I am loving this portion of UPRE and introducing me, and I got to take his words. It's not mine. It's Nietzsche's. To something new. It gives me something to watch that I typically would never watch, and I hold it. So go ahead and introduce the rest of the crew.
Okay. I also have with me Vic, one of my favorite hosts, because he always comes through with the backgrounds.
What's up,
Hi, Vic. How you doing this evening?
I'm feeling like a lobbyist. Arguments. That's what it feels like tonight.
All right. Well, we'll settle that moving down because we're hearing every single thing that your lap is doing. Last but not least, I'm gonna say not least because he seems to take offense.
You say something else, you're gonna, you'll get talked about. So.
I have the executive consultant.
Yes. After all this time, finally I'm back on the air. It's been a long time coming. I know all you are happy to see me. I was like getting bored. I'm like, thank you for smoking. Like, nobody smokes anymore, do they? Yeah, I smoke, yo. But hey, I'm here. I'm here to tell you all smoking is bad for you. So is this movie.
Well, I don't know. Are we gonna? Okay, so I'll just
Let's get into it. E.
Yeah,
Boogie.
I'll go into why I chose this film and kind of.
I think I know what he's looking for. So is it? Let me see if I can help her out. If he left it here, I think he took it out. E Boogie. I think he took it out. He took it out other than the whole intro. So the intro was supposed to play and he cut the intro. So sorry.
No biggie. We just switched it up a little bit tonight. That's fine. I'll go into a little bit about this movie now. I saw this movie around when it came out. I was excited by the all-star lineup. Love anything Rob Lowe is in. He is so beautiful, and he was very perfectly cast as the little character he played, the LA, I guess, movie producer, facilitator, as he identified as.
Damn, Vic, are we really? How many hours you worked this week? That man was like, oh God, this movie fucking sucks.
Well, I appreciated this movie because it took a different route other than being about just campaigning, and it kind of added another layer of like how we think about how politics work. There was a politician that was one of the main characters, played by William H. Macy, which I love him too. He's great. He's a good actor, and I think he played the senator really well
in Vermont.
The Vermont senator very well also. It just showed a lot of different aspects of kind of the behind the scenes of how politics and business work in tandem.
Why don't you tell people what the movie's about?
Oh, sure.
Because they may not know, so if they do not know, so tell them and then tell them how we fucking feel about this shit.
Yeah, it's a pretty old movie. At this point,
you aging?
Yeah.
Are you aging? I watch Happy Days on TV. Damn it! I see Jody loves Shotzi.
The movie itself is almost old enough to buy cigarettes.
I don't like get his ass whooped on TV. Don't say 2005's old.
It is, because the movie itself is almost old enough to buy cigarettes.
17 years old. It's an older movie. Let's just be
it's pretty old. But
old is House Party.
Older.
No, that is ancient at this point.
What? Hold on.
Ancient.
Right now,
yes.
What is the theme? You don't want to ask the question. Let E-Boogie answer it. You over here worried about your age.
I'm sorry.
All
No,
right.
you're worried about
You
I'm sorry,
age
little guy
gracefully.
down there. You're worried about your Uber you set up. So go.
Is Lyft.
Go ahead, E.
So, the movie is about a lobbyist. He works on behalf of to the tobacco industry, so namely cigarettes. And what he does is kind of spin any antagonistic conversation and any antagonistic legislation that would impact the profits of the tobacco industry. He what he is really good at is spin and being able to argue effectively, and that makes a good lobbyist. Being able to spin the conversation and pivot away from the legitimate facts, and make it into a larger conversation, kind of, and sometimes make these really, how do I, bombastic comparisons, in order to kind of, let me get my wig out the frame, in order to kind of blur what we're really talking about here. And there's a lot of moral ambiguity happening in his in the cycle of this movie for him. That being said, he is a smoker, so I think that helps. If you believe, obviously you're going to be able to sell your product if you believe in it and participate in it.
I'm sorry, Boogie. He wasn't a smoker.
He was a smoker. He
was
smoked
not a
cigarettes.
smoker.
He was. He
He
pulled
was
out
not a smoker.
he pulled out a pack of cigarettes 30 minutes into the movie, and it happened to be empty, and he was upset about it. So you tell me what that means.
I do not know what that meant, but the
You
entire
don't
movie, and
remember.
when you go further, no, but if you go further in the movie, when the whole thing happened with the part where he gets kidnapped by those who are pissed because
That was
he's-
after he had to quit.
okay, well, somewhere along the line, I guess I blinked out, I passed out, but go ahead.
Yes,
I'm
you
sorry.
did. So anyway, he was a smoker. That definitely made it easier for him, I think, to kind of have this take that it's more about people's personal freedoms than it is about protecting the public from what happens when someone smokes, especially regularly. He even confronted someone who was the face of Marlboro and who was a career smoker, and took part in bribing this person and kind of getting that person to have like some ambiguity with their own morals and integrity. And there's just a lot of these instances where he kind of defiles people, that maybe would have a very clear stance on cigarettes and smoking until it comes to their own personal profit. He himself says that he's only in this business to pay his mortgage. But that being said, he smoked cigarettes until, like Mike said, he gets kidnapped and he basically gets poisoned with nicotine so that he can literally not smoke another cigarette, not even for a set, not even spark up, or he could die. In the end, that still doesn't deter him. And he does go and represent the tobacco industry in a hearing about whether they can implement putting a skull and crossbones, a 3D skull and crossbones, which was so creepy, on cigarette boxes from this point forward. Now, his adversary is the senator, played by William H. Macy, who I think was pretty funny. Their dialogue was really funny on when they were on the TV show, and then in the hearing later on, where he kind of talks about how Vermont
Cheese
is a cheese state and high cholesterol.
Cholesterol, damn it, is a
and he
murder.
kinda
It murders people.
Yeah, he just does these great comparisons of industry, that, it really clouds the judgment when it comes to this conversation. But for me, I know and recognize as a former tobacco user that that shit will kill you. That shit will kill you. And if it does not kill you, it will severely be a detriment to your quality of life 20, 30 years down the line, sometimes 15, depending on how frequently you partake. But I would love to hear from somebody else what you guys thought of the movie, even though it's a little bit obvious. But sure, let's get into what you guys thought about this muted
I
witty.
would personally on purpose, but he won't do it because he's like your child when you don't give him Skittles in the store. Why you think the kid's yelling for the Skittles? Because you got the Skittles. That's the executive consultant down there. He should go second, third, or fourth sometimes. Not always last, but I take the helm right now because I'm in a good mood. I had this beer, and I'm gonna say thank you, E Boogie, for picking this movie. Do I give it a thumbs up? Fuck it, I tell you right now, goddamn right. This movie was amazing. Okay, not only do you give me fucking Frank Gallagher, which is William H. Macy, none of you give me fucking Rob Lowe, you give me J.K. Simmons, you give me fucking Harvey Dent, you give me the real. People don't understand why I did not like Dark Knight, because the wrong mother, they switched my fucking girl, they switched my Rachel out. Okay, because Katie Holmes played Rachel first, and the other Rachel wasn't fucking cute. Yeah, I said it. Sexism, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that's what it was. Okay, but this movie, including his fucking son, okay, was amazing. My girl Kim Dickens, that was in, she played the madam on Sons of Anarchy. Like, this thing was just full of so many, like, what you call your all-star cast. And if you watch movies and television, you recognize every single person that's in this movie. It's just to me was an amazing film. And I love movies. I still don't understand what the fuck y'all mean how this has any political satire, even though they went to Congress. None of it's to me. When I think political, just me, I have blinders on. Okay, I knew nothing but Democrat for years. Okay, that's all I knew because that's all I was taught. Okay, to me, political is, governors, presidents, mayor, even if it's aldermen, things like that. I didn't think this fit that genre, but okay, I'm gonna take it a stretch further and tell you it didn't matter, because I didn't disagree with the things he said, even the things he was teaching his son. Right? I thought it was amazing how you could go in there like, what's that? Bring your parent to work school day to talk about what you do for a living, and he's in the classroom and he tells such a compelling argument, like, and he does this, and I love movies like this. They even in the movie, which I love that they pointed this out in the movie, is that he was like Jerry Maguire on crack. Okay, like this guy. Movies like Jerry Maguire was one of my favorite movies of all time. Movies like Two for the Money with Matthew McConaughey is one of my favorite movies of all time. This movie I didn't think Harvey Dent could do this, and I know that Harvey Dent plays good roles. Okay, I know he does. All right, Mr. Aaron Eckhart. I get it. I get he plays great roles. But damn it, when he does roles like this, like he did Harvey Dent, it's just amazing. And I thought, I said here, and again, I take Nietzsche's words, is not mine. The best part about UPRE, and I hope the listeners continue to like, subscribe, and share this notion, is that when we tell you these movies are coming out, we hope you go watch them with us. So you can comment below and let us know. Not just say it sucks and you never saw it. If you never set your eyes on this damn movie, don't tell me the movie sucks, because you didn't watch it. Because I wish I'd have saw this trailer in 2005. I mean, I was only married for 2 years at that point. I mean, I was probably a horrible husband or even a probably worse father, but I was there trying. Nobody gives you a book how to be these things, you know what I mean? But I'm there. Nonetheless, I'd have went and saw this movie. Okay, you should go see this movie or go watch it like I did. If you got Stars, I know you're watching Power and all that good shit. It's right there on Stars. It was amazing. I love this movie, Vic, because down in the left corner ain't gonna go next. So Vic, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Well, this movie, I actually have the DVD, and I came across this movie in the mid 2000s at a Walmart, right? And I was just intrigued by the title. Because I mean, it was just interesting at the time, you know what I mean? And one thing that I love about this movie is that it kind of shows an aspect of politics that a lot of people know about but don't necessarily see firsthand, right? Because the majority of real politics is people figuring out how to spend money and people figuring out what laws to write, right? So now when there's a bill on the floor and somebody's going to write something and somebody has an idea, then here come guys like this. That's like when somebody tries to regulate something, then these are the guys that show up. And they come with the spin and they come with the this and they come with the that. You know what I mean? Depending on what it is. Oil has these guys. Tobacco has these guys. Alcohol has these guys. Everybody has these guys. You know what I mean? But what I do find interesting is that when it's the tech guys, they don't have any of these guys. They all show up. One of the most revealing things that ever happened in this country was when Mark Zuckerberg met in front of all of these congressmen and nobody knew how he made money. That was incredibly interesting because that just showed the generational divide of what the hell is going on here. Because if you can't understand ad revenue and you're in fucking Congress, then what the hell are you doing? But that's, just something for another day. But still, like, I just thought that this whole process was interesting. I love the fact that his son, used these skills against his mother. I love the fact that Katie Holmes used these skills against him. Because
I meant to mention her too. I meant to mention how phenomenal she was in this movie.
Because the thing is that, like, the audience can clearly see what she was up to. She says, like, I want to fuck you when I see you on TV. Tell me more about this and this and that. Like, come on now. How can you not? And then and mind you, I thought he was hip to it because he was looking back, looking like this. But I'm thinking now, like, he was just enjoying that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But and the reality of the situation is just like, and his friends even knew that shit was gonna happen. So how could you not see that coming? You know what I mean? You're a smart guy, but the reality is just that, like, when you get in it, you're not thinking. So I get that part too, but still, and I mean, who wouldn't want to fuck Katie Holmes? So I get that, especially at that time. So, like, you know what I mean? So, like, still, but hey, honestly, I've always enjoyed this movie. I really like the information that it gives out. I like the moral to the story. I like what he did at the end. And now, I always wondered if it would be nice if they would have a sequel. I like sequels. You know what I mean? But that's clearly not gonna happen at this point. But that's it. I'm done with my rant. It's gonna be a thumbs up. Look at Chris already. I'm just gonna give
you already know he's out in the building already. He's like halfway here, halfway out. Like, bunch of people gonna be on Easter. You what do they call them? EMC members, Mother's Christmas and Easter. By the time you go to church. Go ahead, Chris. We've been waiting. I know you've been waiting to tell us about ourselves and how you're gonna come behind us. What we said about you, mostly me. So come on, grab the pen and bring it.
So you know what? Shout out to Vic for mentioning sequels because that's what he does, right? Shout out to Vic for mentioning sequels. Shout out to you, Mike Knox, for sitting here saying, "Oh, Rachel Dawes or Katie Holmes," and she played a better one than the other one, Maggie Gyllenhaal. Which is completely untrue because in 2005 Batman Begins, she was the worst character in that movie.
I never said she played a better one. I said she was cuter. Get your words right.
She is not cuter.
Before you come at me, before you come for me, your arm is too small to box with God. That's not what I said. I said she was cuter.
I'm not boxing with God.
I liked her better.
Knox,
I liked her better.
I'm in
God mode, baby. Greatest on a different level. Come on, make your point.
Like I was saying, terrible in that movie. She's not cute. Right? She's not cute. In this movie,
who's your eyes about holder? Who thinks you cute? Who thinks I'm cute?
Everybody.
Whoever picked us. I don't know.
But all I'm saying is, right? All I'm saying is, this movie, I'm glad I didn't see that much of Katie Holmes at all. Right? Because even though she's better in small spurts. Okay, if that makes any sense. Now,
that's what people say about you.
No, that's not true. That's why everybody's around. Don't do that, E. Don't do that. Okay? Because who you used to spend lunch with? Don't do that. So now look, all right? So look, right? This movie was good for one reason and one reason only. If it had a good point. That's Aaron Eckhart. Aaron Eckhart, not Harvey Dent. Because Mike Knox was saying that he was Harvey Dent, like that's his billing in every single one of these movies. But as he said so eloquently, I might add, as he said, I've never seen Eric Eckhart play a bad role. He plays a very charismatic character whenever he is playing a role. That includes Olympus Has Fallen, right? He plays that charismatic role. So when he played this role, and I'm looking, and I saw this in the trailer, he actually seemed like the role was made for him almost. Like he was that believable playing that character. So shout out to him. However, I'm not a smoker. Right? I'm not a smoking guy. So I'm not sure if I like the message that was given in this movie, even though I understood the underlying message. I understand what I'm saying by that. I understand the underlying message of what he's doing, how he's doing, and what becomes of it because of what he's doing. But there still is the point of his job is to convince people like me that smoking is not that bad for you. Did he do that? I don't know. We're going to talk about it in a second. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Find out what we're reviewing next Thursday. We'll be right back and watching UPRE.
There's a crisis in the White House.
What's the crisis?
And the president's top advisors have been called together.
Oh, jeez.
The sexual misconduct occurred inside the Oval Office. With the election only days away, how much will this scandal affect the outcome?
Now, Washington's top spin doctor,
We can distract the press for 11 days till the election. I think we got a chance.
Wag the dog.
When the fit hits the shan, somebody's going to have to stay after school.
Oh,
Who are you?
My name is Sarah Connor. Never seen one like you before. Almost human.
I am human. Why do you care what happens to her?
Because I was her.
How do we win? We win by keeping you alive.
Wow, amazing. Finally out of Terminator Dark Fate, right? Finally out of it, going into our next franchise, which is Mission Impossible. And if you think I'm going to enjoy all those movies, I guarantee you that mission is impossible because I wasn't a fan of that franchise. But we're going to get into that, and I'm thankful that we're going to have
Un-American.
Terminator Dark Fate, number Terminator 5, with the four of us, as well as see this here next Tuesday. And then, of course, next Thursday, we're going to talk about Wag the Dog, which is Mike Knott's first pick for this franchise month. Unfortunately, I will not be on for that one, but I will be here in spirit. But today we're talking about Thank You for Smoking, right? Eve Boogie, thumbs up, thumbs down.
I picked this movie, so it's an obvious thumbs up for me.
No bias.
I loved how kind of humble this movie is, and yet so arrogant with the writing and dialogue. There's a lot of very meaningful moments in this movie, particularly with Sam Elliott, one of my childhood favorite voice actors. The moment where he kind of justifies accepting this blood money over speaking out and maintaining his integrity as a man who is ultimately dying and going to die from being so heavily affiliated with tobacco use and using it himself was so impactful. And the conversations with Rob Lowe's character and kind of them just trivializing it and trying to reconnect Hollywood to tobacco use. I really loved how they played that out. That he says something about where Hollywood is at that time with tobacco use, which is just the Ravs characters, which he describes as Russians, Arabs, and villains. And in order to try to pivot and change that, he does a quick pitch of a movie with Catherine Zeta-Jones and Brad Pitt on a spaceship, smoking a cigarette after ravishing each other. That visual was just hilarious in the context, especially when Aaron Eckhart's character is like, wait a minute, if it's a fully oxygen filled room, wouldn't it blow up if they sparked up a cigarette? It was just really funny quips throughout this movie. That was amazing. I love the ultimate message of this movie, which is supposed to be about personal freedom and kind of doing what you have to do to get paid, despite it kind of being to the detriment of humanity. Like, what we're trying to do out here is survive and make our coins, and this dude happens to at that time be working for the tobacco industry. So I thought this was a funny movie. One thing I will mention about this movie and this month is that there is a severe lack of films, not television, but films with Black characters involved in politics. There are some, but you didn't see any in this movie. And I thought that was pretty short-sighted, I think. Mm-hmm. But thumbs up for me.
Mike Knox.
As I said, I love this movie. I'm glad you introduced me to this movie. As Nietzsche said, my man was wrote for this movie. Aaron Eckhart, just like you said when you saw the trailer. I should have known when I saw the trailer too. William H. Macy playing the Vermont. I said, if you watch and I've been a fan since the day one the series started on Showtime, which I know the executive consultant has not watched Shameless. Whenever you think you had a fucked up day, you're not a Gallagher. Just remember that. You know your day is better. Okay. Okay. So just seeing this movie, and I love the moral of this movie and getting paid. Right. This is why I love movies like I said, Jerry Maguire and Two for the Money. I love movies. I love Social Network because of the way that Mark Zuckerberg came off. I think Vic brought that up. You know, how he came off. It's about having your persuasion of being correct being understood. And you can't disagree with it because the facts that he's saying are true, although they may be slayed in some way. And I thought that was the bring of the show. And that's why I thought I loved his son taking it on and winning it for himself also in school. I love that. I love the whole entire thing about this movie. I will watch it again. I will watch this with my wife. I hope I go to Walmart and find it a $5 bin the same way that Vic did. Thumbs up for me.
Okay, I think that this movie shines a light to the culture of this country that is partisan on everything. Everybody, instead of finding a solution, just picks a side. Bottom line. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, and the thing is that this guy and guys like him get hired to make the point for the other side. Like, hey, everybody, stop sticking needles up your nose because you're gonna bleed your nose. Like, no, but you know what scientific information is saying that this is gonna be a problem. You know what I mean? There's always gonna be somebody like that. There's always gonna be an Ann Coulter.
The German doctor that for 30 years couldn't prove that smoke caused emphysema.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? There's always gonna be somebody that's just like, no, but the sky is blue, but what about at night when it's a little darker? Like, you know what I mean? Like, his shit like that. Like, how do you explain that? There's always going to be somebody with some kind of spin for something simple, and especially like when there's legislation being put on the table. So it's clearly it's a thumbs up because it's another one of those movies where it's like, hey, everybody, this is you.
Spin doctor. That's politics in general, isn't it? Mr. Spin Doctor. I know a few people who are spin doctors in real life. So, I mean, it's always entertaining, right? This movie's about smoking. I hate smoking. I really do hate smoking.
Is it really about smoking? If that's what you guys is the answer to this movie. It's not. It's like watching The Walking Dead.
It's like I'm talking. It's like I'm talking and I get interrupted by you constantly when I let you talk and have your little thing on. You know, so that's what it's like. All right. So this movie is promoting smoking, and I just can't get behind something like that because I don't like smokers. You know, filthy animals. For a filthy habit, don't smoke. That should be it right there. And you were quick on that one because I was about to delete that shit.
I think this movie went over your head.
Don't smoke. Nothing goes wrong, man. I'm 6'3". No smoke cigarettes.
You're not 6'3".
Don't smoke. Don't smoke weed. Right? Don't. What the fuck? Okay. He's not even talking. I don't know why this is flashing. So. I just can't get into smoking. Any movie about smoking, it's hard for me to get into.
Do you like the damn movie or not?
I think he did. I think he did.
It's like I can't get into movies about smoking because it's terrible. It sends a terrible message, much like Sonic killing Dr. Robotnik in Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I can't get behind stuff like that.
Been killing Robotnik since 91. You fly, man.
Therefore, I give this movie a thumbs up because Aaron Eckhart played a hell of a character in this movie. I loved it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching us here at UPRE for E Boogie, for Mike Knox, for Vic. I am the executive consultant. We appreciate you all watching. Make sure you join us next Tuesday for Terminator Dark Fate and on Thursday for Wag the Dog. And hopefully that movie gets a thumbs down because it's Mike Knox's pick. If he watches everything that ever shows up on TV, everything, no matter what. Like every porno movie he's probably seen.
I don't watch porn. Thank you very much.
I would like to say James also recommended Wag the Dog, and that's your number one. Like you are a huge fan of James.
Yeah,
So.
you can see why he's here now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching us. We'll see you next time right here at Unpopular Review.